Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel. As you know, we've had yesterday the new patch update for Panzer Dragon Remake, and it brings the new soundtrack from Saori Kobayashi, and also some updates, some fixes. I don't have the detail, it doesn't fix everything, but it feels better overall, and that's also the feedback I've gathered from the community. So you should try for yourself. But today I'm going to share my impressions on the game overall, and also with this update. As you know, the game was not perfect prior to the update. It's still not perfect, but it's better. And I've also sent this feedback to the devs for them to focus on. They said they listened. They said they are working on the next patch to fix things based on this report, based on the feedback that the community sent, not just me, of course. So hopefully the game will get better and better. So let's start. I will just quickly focus on the home menu, because I think there are a few things that newcomers should know and should change in the options before starting the game. First off, now that we have the rearranged soundtrack, I would recommend to go in the options and change the volume, because the effects volume is I think a little bit too high. I think the balance is not very good at the moment, because if you set everything at 100%, you don't hear the music. Seriously, maybe in the first level, okay, you hear it correctly, but in some levels you don't hear them very well, and I think it's better, especially if we have rearranged soundtrack. Saori Kobayashi worked on that, so it's better if we can hear properly her new composition. So I suggest you reduce this value here down to maybe 50% and see how it goes for you. I think it's better. Don't mute the effects entirely, because it's important to know when you lock on correctly. Also, another thing that I suggest you guys change is the sensitivity here. By default it's set at 1, but for me it was unplayable, at least at the beginning. So if you start the game for the first time, if you are just a normal player like me, not a hardcore player, start with another value like 0.7 or 0.75. I think it's a good place to start, and maybe if you get really good, you can increase the sensitivity, but I think by default it's too high. You also have different way to controls, the modern controls or the classic. The classic controls allows you to play similarly to the original game on the Sega Saturn, like the fire button is B, is the face button, while with the modern controls you can control the dragons with the left stick and the aiming reticle with the right stick. And to be fair, I initially played the game on classic because that's what I was used to on the Sega Saturn, but after trying the modern controls, they actually feel better, and I'm not sure exactly about it, but it feels like it controls better, like it looks better. I'm not sure, 200% sure, but I had a better experience overall, and even, I don't know, maybe the input lag when you rotate the camera, it feels also better. And one thing I discovered as well is you don't, when you turn the camera left, right, or at the back, you can now see the dragon. I don't know if that's related to the controls, but when I played in classic, I could not have this third-person view, you know. So I think this is new. We didn't have that in the original game, and we had that in Spire in the second game, because they improved on this formula. So I think it's really good to be able to see the dragon in each view. So try that. I think it might be related to the level of zoom, because if you use the D-pad up and down, you can change that, so it might be related. I'm not really sure. Try that, but it's a really good feature that I discovered yesterday. I was really happy about that. Okay, so now we are going to start the game. So as I said, yeah, a quick look at the controls. You aim with the ZL and ZR, and honestly, it feels good. You get used to it very quickly. I got used to it really quickly. So I suggest you guys try that. The controls, the modern controls are really good, I think. What else? Overall, I think the game feels better with the new patch. The music is really nice. I much prefer personally, but it's a matter of preference, you know. I much prefer the new soundtrack because I think Saori Kobayashi's soundtrack feels more Panzer Dragon than the original one, but you know, to each his own. I think it adds a layer of consistency overall on the whole series, because now Saori Kobayashi has done the music to this remake. There's no reason she wouldn't work on Zwei remake, right? So that means she would add a layer of consistency across the whole series, which is, I think, very nice. So yeah, this patch, I think it also fixes a few issues. Not everything in terms of gameplay, but it fixes some of them, especially in the level 4, in which prior to the patch you had to have a certain amount of life, because otherwise you would, you know, die no matter what you would do. Some of the monsters would have undodgeable attacks, especially at the beginning, and also the boss. When you would look at the back, he would run at you. You could not dodge that before the patch, and now you can dodge that. You can cancel some of his attacks. So yeah, it feels better overall. Yeah, that's it. What else? Let's show some gameplay quickly. I don't want to spoil the whole intro for you. Honestly, this game, I think now with this new patch, should have a better Metacritic than what it got now. I think it's sitting around 6 out of 10. Personally, initially, I thought it was a bit harsh on the game, but maybe deserved. I would have maybe personally given the game something like 6.5, 7 at launch, because we didn't have the soundtrack that was promised and the gameplay felt a little bit rough. But now the way it plays, and I don't know if it's me getting better or just, you know, the game with the new patch feels better. From the feedback I've seen on Twitter, you guys also seem to enjoy it more. I think the game deserves more. I would probably give it 7.5 now. Yeah, easily. So I think these games deserve to be talked about, to be, you know, shared among your friends. More people need to experience it. I think it's a really fun game. I don't usually replay games very much. Rail shooter are not my preferred game. You know very well. I never hide the fact that my favorite episode is Panzer Dragon Saga. And this is the reason I created the community overall, but I still love all games. And I was surprised to really enjoy replaying the games in easy, because I suck, you know. I started the game in easy, I win, I beat the game in normal, and then finally I beat the game in hard mode, so it was really fun, and I think I will replay the game a couple more times to see what the patches fix. So yeah, I hope these impressions will be useful for you. I hope you will enjoy the game, and if you don't, well, you can share your impressions below. I'm always open to discussion, but it needs to be respectful, you know. On the community, the vast majority of people is respectful, but there are some people that I won't tolerate. They won't talk to me like that. I do this on my free time. They are not respectful. They get blocked. That's it. Okay, but don't worry. It's not the majority. It's a minority here. So that's cool. Stay positive. Stay safe. Stay home. And hope to talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye. One thing I forgot to mention was the art direction. I think this it's a tricky exercise. I think this remake managed to keep the charm of the series, especially when you look at the intro cutscene. It still is not a Final Fantasy VII remake level of remake. But it still is a nice job that has been done here. I really enjoyed the new intro, the way it's been crafted to be respectful of the original CGI. Honestly, when you check the side-by-side comparison, some people are being very sarcastic. They say the Saturn is better. Honestly, it's a joke. The Saturn was nice for its time, but honestly, the remake does a very nice job at remaking this intro cutscene. I really like that. I think it's smooth. It's not perfect. Obviously, you still have some of the goofy times when the let me show you. When I think this is when the our player Kai Fludge is attacked from the top. Yeah, it feels a little bit goofy and a little bit strange even for 2020, but still I think it's this moment is a bit but to be fair, they respected the original soundtrack, so the original game, so we can't really blame for that. I think it's tricky for a studio like Forever Entertainment to take liberties with the IP. Their stance on that was that they were remaking the game to be faithful. So even if we have issues with the gameplay, we can't mix everything here. We need to be fair. Gameplay needs to be fixed, of course, but in terms of art directions, it's a little bit more vibrant, but honestly the rest is nice. I think the CGI is nicely redone. Something I think they missed here is the visuals are nice, but one thing I agree with is the in the sound department. The dragon roar here when the rider dies, it's not good. It's not spot on. The original had a more expressive, emotionally expressive roar. It's missed in this remake. So maybe they can rework this sound effect to make it more emotionally impacting. But the rest, honestly, the visuals are not bad at all. I really like how they redid the CGI. And the art direction, honestly, it's not bad. Okay, so let's talk about the stage one, the first stage. Some people were complaining. I respect that the original was a plain area of water. First off, it was also due to a limitation of the hardware. Okay. And you need to know that this area is not a sea, it's a lake. We know that it's part of the data that you can find in various websites. There is a map, there was a guidebook of the game, and this area is a lake. So these are runes, and honestly, in a lake, you wouldn't have just just old ruins like that in the middle of a plain area of water. You obviously would have rocks or something. So I can't really criticize the choice that was made here. It's a choice. It's a choice of art direction. They changed that a little bit. It doesn't bother me. I like it. I don't agree that a remake should do 200% on everything. For me personally, it doesn't bother me. I think the dragon animation looks smooth, look nice. The original game run at like 15-20 frames per second. Here in this game it runs for the most part at a stable 30 frames per second, so it's smooth in that regard. Yeah, and that's it. For the rest of the game, I'm really happy by the way it looks. I think it looks nice. It's, as I said, a little bit more vibrant, but I like it like that. I think it's they did what they could with the budget they had. It's not to put the fault on the studio, because they have a budget to respect, they have resources. I think Sega didn't provide any budget. It's all on the studio. They took the risk, they pay for the license. If we want a better game, well, maybe we need to support that, criticize when it needs to, where they need to improve it, and hopefully the next one is better. And maybe after 1 and 2 remake we get better games, because they are given more budget, they get more budget, they can have more resources. It's not the work of the artist that is to be criticized here. They have to meet scheduled targets, so they can only do their best with the time they have and the resources they have. So I think it's a good game for the budget it was given. So I really enjoyed it. As I said, a solid 7.5. And it could go up, for me with the patches. So I hope you will enjoy this review, and thank you. Bye.